creating a standard material. Alright, I'm going to show you how to maybe bring in a texture and apply it to a material, and it's just a general material. You can have it across all meshes, doesn't really matter. I just wanted you to know how to do this. Okay, so in Photoshop, let's start there. We'll concentrate more on detail of this design later on. Okay, I'm going to search out steel texture. Which is on my other monitor, so I'll bring over my other monitor here. I'm going to go with like 6, 8, or 10 megapixels. And I'm just looking for a general noise, like this. Whoa, that is way too contrasty though. Just a general noise. I could make a noise pattern, but that one's a little contrasty too. I'm looking for something less contrasty. This has a gradient in it, so you don't want to use that. Wow, I'm surprised there is no 1 million steel textures. Alright, I'm going to go with this. Okay. So yeah, this has a good general noise to it. Let's copy it. By the way, this is for educational purposes only. I'm not selling or making profit from anything. All this is open source, so. Alright, check that out. And then go to the marquee tool, hold shift. Grab yourself a section, a square. Okay. Then you can do this. Crop. Now, I like this texture, but it's too big. Okay. Size-wise, as far as aesthetic size, edit, copy, edit, paste allows me to make a new layer. I'm going to take this and shrink it down quite a bit. And then I'm going to take the eraser tool, and I'm using chalk here. And I'm just going to cut away the outside edge around this little patch that I made. Okay. Then I'm going to take this patch, and I'm going to Alt copy it. I'm going to rotate it every once in a while. Love that when that happens, when you grab that stupid center thing within Photoshop. Okay, going to cut away a little bit more on it. Like that. Rotate. Okay, then I'm going to grab the clone stamp tool a little bit here and just generally tap it around things. Don't like using this tool very often because of the blur factor that occurs. Okay, and then to mask everything, all I'm doing is making a lot of noise, okay? Really high dense noise here. So when you go out, it will prevail a pattern, but remember that everything's going to be really small as it goes, so the pattern doesn't really show up. This time I'm looking for a little bit more contrast in the piece. And I'm chopping around in the 6 megapixels because I get a better selection, but yeah, at a cost of, ooh, this is perfect. So that is absolutely perfect. Copy image. Paste. Ooh. Now this one I'm just going to use for something else, so I'm going to stretch it out and use it as a different kind of layer, like let's say multiply or soft light. I like multiply better. And I can use my wheel mouse to switch through these to see which one looks better. Multiply looks the best. That darker color looks pretty sweet. And I like the hard light. And I can use this as, again, let's say the hard light looks pretty sweet for the cracks, and then I can use multiply to amp it up. And I can shift it around. So all I'm doing is making a lot of noise, and if I zoom into this, it's incredibly detailed. Okay, so there's my pattern, and that's how I can produce textures with other textures. Ergo breaking the copyright on them and working them quite nicely. So textures, let's say you get saved onto the folder. And we'll call this, oh, actually I'll put this in Unreal Parts. Put it as a TGA. And I'll call this how unoriginal can I get at this early in the morning? Part material, yeah. All right, let's go back to the UDK and then import that in. Hit cancel. One thing that you should do is size this. So right now it's 2936. Let's put it in the power of 2, so 2048. Now, if yours is closer to 1024, you would make yours 1024. Highly recommend you don't do that. If that's the case, you have gone and shopped at the worst part of Google for your first image, and you should redo it because you need a higher resolution in order to pull this off. So import. Okay, hit OK. All right. Now, if you right click, you can go new material. I'm going to call this part underscore matte for material. Okay. I'm going to click on texture and then go into this and look for texture sample. Click and drag it out, and there we go. Now we're just making a general texture, general material. All I want to do is teach you that if you connect this to this, it will make the texture show up on the material. Okay, you can play around with the other stuff if you want. I mean, it is fun to play with all the other things, but just make sure that in the end you right click and break link. We're going to use light mask to actually produce most of the effect for these very first examples. Okay, when you're done, there's like no save or anything. As soon as you do this, you just hit the apply changes. And then you can go into each part, click on this material, which is underscore matte now. On the part, you just go level detail, material, where it says none. If you look over to the right hand side of this, a little bit, and down, you get the arrow, and you can click on it, and then the material will go onto it. And when you zoom in onto it, it should look generally like this. So it's a noise that kind of fits the piece. The smaller the noise, the better it's going to look. Alright, so there we go. That is how you develop textures and bring them in. Of course, it gets way more in depth than that, but you should have your texture rendering and lighting course under your belt also if you're taking my course for level design. So use the skills that you learned there. This video is generally for just a reminder of things and how to get materials and textures into the engine. Alright, let's enjoy, and let's go on to the next video.